am currently in Italy right now, and I am noticing, due to change, due to the unknown, every time that there is a transition, I notice that my first knee-jerk response is fear. And I believe fear is a spectrum, so sometimes it's like just a little bit of nervousness. Sometimes it's kind of ventures into the anxiety category. Sometimes it's a little panicky. There's different flavors of fear, like fear and presence. Because I think the relationship between fear and presence is interesting. A lot of times, for me at least, when I feel fear, when I feel anxiety, when I feel worry, that automatically tells me that I'm not actually present. I'm not actually in the present moment. Today I'm packing up to leave. I've been staying in this Airbnb for I think 5 days. And so I've adapted, I've established a routine here. I'm in a small little quiet town. It's pretty safe. And today I'm leaving, and I noticed last night when I was going to bed, I was starting to feel fear. When I feel fear in my body, my chest kind of feels tight. My thoughts are kind of louder. They're more racy. I'm not present. I'm not as present. It feels like it takes work to remind myself to come back to the present, to be present. It takes effort. And so this morning I woke up and I, not immediately, but eventually, as the morning progressed, I started to feel that kind of constriction, tight feel in my chest again. And I was like, oh, what is it exactly that I am fearing right now? Not in a judgmental way, because I think it's important to not judge ourselves, but just out of curiosity, like why is it that fear is my first initial knee-jerk response to an upcoming change? And I thought back to last night. Okay, I was scrolling on my phone before I went to bed. That's something that I try not to do. I'm back at home. I'm pretty kind of strict with myself about that, but since I'm here, I think because of the time difference, everyone back at home in the States, it was the afternoon when I was going to bed. I felt a sense of community, so I was on social media. But I was exposed to just all this information, one being a plane crash in India. And I started to feel anxious, like what if my plane crashes? What if I die? What if, all these bad things happen? And then I started to get into reviews about this airline that I'm flying on tomorrow, negative reviews. And I just stopped and I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I exposing myself to this information right now? So I put my phone down and I started to read my book, and it helped me come back to this present moment. I was in my bed. I was in Italy. I was in this small town in Italy. I reminded myself that I was safe. I reminded myself that at the time it was about 11 p.m. Italy time. I wasn't in the States. And I just had to come back into my body, into the present, right here, right now. Because right here, right now is all that there is. For every single one of us, your version of right here, right now, your present moment is your life, is your reality, is literally all that there is. Sure, there are a million, billion things going on outside of me at all times, but that is not it. That is not my reality. I mean, it is and it isn't. Being in this small town in Italy, it's a very quaint, quiet, small town. What I've noticed is the people here, they're present. Not every single person, of course, at all times, but there's just a different feel. There's a groundedness. There's an engagement with the present, with their life, that I immediately noticed. Every day I walk in this park. There's a beautiful park here with a lot of trails, and there's benches along the way and places to sit, and it's often that people are just sitting on the bench and they're just simply just sitting. They're not scrolling. Sometimes they're reading, sometimes they're not, but a lot of times people are simply sitting. They're just sitting, they're being. I really appreciate that. Yesterday I took time to sit on a bench and just observed. And it was beautiful and it was nourishing and I felt safe. And I think in many ways, the state of anxiety and the state of fear has become so normalized that it starts to feel unsafe to feel safe. It starts to feel unsafe to be present and not worrying about this or that or this person and what's going to happen next. Because the reality is, we have no idea, and we can worry all that we want, and we can be in a state of extreme fear and plan every single detail to help us feel safe, but in reality, we have no idea what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen in an hour. I don't know what's gonna happen in 5 minutes from now. I don't know. There is no way to know. I would encourage you to explore your relationship with fear. How does fear show up for you? What form does fear take for you? What is your relationship to fear? And with that, what is your relationship to presence, to the present moment? How present are you in your life at all times?